they ended up going to TNA um, and International. And during that time, and especially like toward the later years, and I also forgot Daniel Bryan. You ever heard Daniel Bryan?
No.
You ever heard the Yes Chant?
No.
No, okay.
Coming out of my era. You're coming out of my era, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's wrestling now, Daniel Bryan. Well, he's
But
known as
that's why
Bryan
you're out of
Daniels.
my era. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. um, they made a kind of a partnership with New Japan Pro Wrestling,
Okay.
and New Japan was during that time when they made this partnership was kind of were going through their own growing pains too. Even though New Japan professional wrestling had been around for a while, and I told you Japanese wrestling is a little bit different, like different than the American wrestling. It's more athletics and a hard hitting style. Now
Right.
is a harder hitting style. Um, they were going their own thing too. Like, remember last episode I mentioned Antonio Inoki?
Yes.
Like Antonio Inoki for a long period of time, and what one of the things that he was doing was he saw how big mixed martial arts were getting,
Uh-huh.
and he wanted to infuse that with professional wrestling. So he had his professional wrestlers actually fight mixed martial artists in real fights.
Oh wow.
And sometimes the wrestlers get messed up
Right.
bad because
Cool.
most of them are not mixed martial artists. So they finally get pushed Inoki out, and a new company comes in and takes over New Japan, and they have to start rebuilding from the ground up. So they really start using younger Japanese wrestlers who literally are now almost household names. One of the
Right.
most famous names, Shinsuke Nakamura,
Okay.
the king of strong style. He now works for the WWF as Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh,
Tadahashi, the ace, the global ace, a guy named Tetsuchika Okada, who's their current champion. And they start bringing in foreign wrestlers from the United States and Great Britain and Canada and Australia. And we're starting to really pay attention to this. And we really started to pay attention to it really started to go big. It was from this match. Dave Meltzer, who's a wrestling journalist and historian, has been doing this for 40 years.
nice.
He has a rating system of who their best matches are, and he gives us a 5-star for the best matches.
Right.
It's a 1 to 5 stars, and he ends up giving 6 stars to this match between Tetsuchika Okada and a guy named Kenny Omega
Okay.
from Canada. And I seen the match myself after he gave the ratings, and I was like, whoa,
Okay.
this is one of the best matches ever. And Kenny Omega is a part of this group, this foreign heel group called the Bullet Club. Now, you know the NWO,
Yes.
and you know the Degeneration X, right?
Yes.
Now, put them together with a bunch of 19-year-olds.
Yikes.
That's the Bullet Club. And the Bullet Club is really picking up.
Okay.
So people are buying their shirts. So it was like they were buying so many of these shirts that during a WrestleMania, I think the last one they did in Miami, I forgot the number. The WWE executives were giving other corporate sponsors like tours and stuff, giving them free tickets, wining them and dining them. And one of the corporate sponsors they had was Jesus Christ, I just had the name of the company. Not Spencer Gifts. Hot Topic. There we go. Hot Topic. Because they wanted to expand and have more than merchandise in Hot Topic stores.
Right.
So one of the executives of Hot Topic was walking around watching like these wrestling fans go in to watch WrestleMania, and he happened to ask the executives of WWE, including Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon's daughter, and
Right.
and her husband Triple H, what's all this Bullet Club stuff going around?
Is that her real life husband?
Yes, that's her real life husband. Yes, they have 3 kids. Actually, real funny. Vince McMahon's grandson, Shane's son, just got signed on to Indiana University as a quarterback.
Oh,
Got a full scholarship. What? So they asked what this Bullet Club stuff is. They had to embarrassingly tell them like, "Oh, that's not our group. They work for New Japan and Ring of Honor." So Hot Topic agrees to put WWE merchandise in, but he also contact New Japan and Ring of Honor, and they were like, "Hey, we would like to sell your Bullet Club stuff." And they were like, "Here, go, take as much as you want." So, and not only that, the independents started to pick up. More people started going to independent shows. So during this time, Dave Meltzer is talking about this. All this stuff is like, "Hey, WWE's got like other commentators are going. WWE has competition." He has to go, and Dave Meltzer goes, "No, they don't. There's no other company that has sold out a building with more than 10,000 people."
Right.
So Cody Rhodes, the son of Dusty Rhodes, we talked about Dusty last episode, and two guys, Nick and Mac Jackson, who are the tag team, the Young Bucks, hear what Dave Meltzer has to say and says, "I will take that bet. We bet that we could sell out an arena with more than 10,000 people for one event." Because at the most it sold out for wrestling company that were not WWE was like 7,000, 8,000 people for a Ring of Honor show, and no one's done over 10,000 since WCW went out of business. And one's done 10,000 has been WWE. So they were like, okay, so they start looking for a city and a arena that can host 10,000 people.
Right.
They finally pick one out. The Sears Center in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, right outside Chicago. They call the event All In. The event sells out in 4 hours. Their gate is over 11,000 people.
Okay.
Plus, they also get paid television rights. Plus, their pre-show is put on WG in America. The event is a hit. It happens in 2018.
Right.
How do I know? I was there.
Yeah.
And also was a guy named Tony Khan. Tony Khan, his father, Amir Khan, owns the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Fulham football team in the English, right now the English Football Championship, but the English Premier League. So they get together. It was like, hey, how'd you like to start a new wrestling company? Because you figured like, hey, Ring of Honor and New Japan would get even bigger because of this, but because Ring of Honor is owned by St. Clair Broadcasting, they only get a certain amount of money per year for their production costs and traveling costs, and it doesn't go up no matter how much money Ring of Honor makes because of how little St. Clair Broadcasting thinks of it. And New Japan Pro is Japan. It's foreign.
Right.
So they decide to start another wrestling company. And mind you that the WWE is trying to sign Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, another wrestler, Hangman Page, another wrestler, Marty Scurll, pretty much the entire American Bullet Club, because there's a Japanese Bullet Club and an American Bullet Club. I'm not going to go into that. So they decide to start up this new professional wrestling organization, and they call it All Elite Wrestling. And they get a television deal with Time Warner. The same company that said that wrestling sucked and it didn't want it on their television comes back almost 20 years later. Is like,
got to get into the deal late.
Like, we want wrestling because television has changed. The executives who that canceled WCW Monday Nitro are gone. They see the changing landscape of television. Wrestling, if it's WWE, how bad it still gets solid numbers.
Right.
So they're like, if we could get those numbers, at least half of those numbers, we're in good shape. Right. So All Elite Wrestling debuts on Wednesday nights, their show Dynamite. And WWE doesn't like this, so they put their supposedly a developmental show NXT on the same night at the same time too. So they start what they call the Wednesday Night Wars. Spoiler alert: All Elite Wrestling wins. NXT has to move to Tuesday nights.
Right.
And not only that, before the pandemic, the independents are getting even better. TNA is a couple of years before this was bought out by Anthem Sports in Canada. They renamed themselves Impact Wrestling. They were in a working agreement with All Elite Wrestling. The NWA, I told you, gets a little. Billy Corgan comes in and buys it. They get a little help from the All In pay-per-view.
Right.
They get a weekly show on YouTube, and then they moved to Fight TV. Now they're back on YouTube. Major League Wrestling gets a little boost.
The wrestling business. Huh? I said, still can't believe Billy Corgan brought a freaking wrestling league.
Yeah,
that's the kind of money I want. I just want to do stuff that people are like, what?
Yeah. When he said he was a fan, and NWA is a little different. They kind of like old timey 1970s type wrestling. You know, it's okay. Some of it, they got a lot of problematic people to work there, but hey, that's different show, different day. Yeah.
That's gonna be Corgan about. I'm gonna buy Pharma Flamingos.
Yeah. Yeah. Major League Wrestling gets a little bump, even though they're not associated with everyone, because everyone wants some sort of wrestling show. They almost get show on Vice TV. The Dark Side of the Ring debuts their documentary series. They're the highest rated show on Vice TV. The only like ones that really suffer is kind of like Ring of Honor, because everyone posts their talent, but just a month or so ago, Tony Khan just bought Ring of Honor Wrestling. He bought Ring of Honor, so they were about to, because everyone's feared Ring of Honor is going to go out of business. And Ring of Honor is, even though they're a small wrestling company, they really, the style of wrestling that you see today on WWE and Impact Wrestling and All Elite Wrestling and a little bit Japan, even though they kind of took it from Japan, the type of wrestling you see now is influenced by Ring of Honor. And like Ring of Honor lost most of their talent, and St. Clair really didn't care about it. So we thought they were going to go under, and they didn't. And now they're saved. Tony Khan came in and saved it. So there's an option for everyone. Professional wrestling is back. Just because the WWE with the crimes or whatever, or the way they tell stories and crap like that, which has been their stop and go storylines and stuff, and only pushing a couple of people. If you don't like that, you can watch All Elite Wrestling. You don't like All Elite Wrestling, you watch NWA. If you don't like that, Impact, New Japan, other wrestling, independents. You can watch what you want and don't be a dick about it.
A lot of options. Be a dick about it.
Yes. There's options. And as much as bad the WWE has done, I still enjoyed the last WrestleMania. I'm still going to watch it when it's good. When it's bad, I'm going to complain about it, because I love professional wrestling. When All Elite Wrestling is bad, even though that's the wrestling show I predominantly watch every week, week after week, if it's bad, I'm going to complain about it. If it's good, I'm going to freaking love it. I love this sport.
Okay. All right.
But I highlighted some of the bad for you, and it's just like in football and everything. There's bad to it, but you take what's good and you fight for what is good.
Okay. All right. That's the best, fairest point of view.
Yeah, and don't be a dick about it. So that was the dark side of the WWE and sports entertainment part 2. Ooh, just as long as it was.
That's how dark it was. Hella dark.
Yeah. Oh man, any closing thoughts on that?
Oh my gosh. I think especially during this time of COVID, and where whether heard it or not, whether you believe it or not, we're on the way back to a rise in viruses out here, we're in a rock